Listen closely, because what you're hearing right now is not a coincidence. There is a reason your spirit pulled you toward this message. There is a reason your heart felt that sudden pull, that inner stirring, that whisper that said, "Pay attention." This moment is not ordinary, and neither are you. There is something sacred unfolding around you, something that has been building quietly behind the scenes of your life. And now, right here, right now, heaven is leaning in to speak a word that has been waiting for its appointed time. You have walked through seasons that felt confusing, seasons that felt silent seasons where you questioned your direction and your strength. You've had moments where you wondered if you were missing something, or if maybe God had forgotten to reveal the next step. But deep down, beneath all the questions, there has always been a flicker, a knowing, a sense that something bigger was forming beyond what you could see. And that knowing is why you're here. Because this is the confirmation. The shift you sensed was real. The pressure you felt was purposeful. The doors that didn't open were divinely protected. And the voice that kept whispering, "Prepare," was not your imagination. For so long you have been in a hidden place, developing, maturing, strengthening, learning to trust in moments where nothing made sense. But every step, every delay, every quiet night was shaping you for what comes next. You were being readied, whether you realized it or not. And now, heaven is declaring, you're ready. Not perfect, not without questions, not without scars. But ready because readiness in the divine realm is not about everything being polished. It's about your spirit being aligned. It's about your heart being open. It's about your character being shaped to carry what you prayed for. In the next moments, what you're about to hear will connect the dots in ways you didn't expect. It will explain the pressure. It will expose the preparation. And it will unveil the truth behind why certain things had to unfold the way they did. You've reached a turning point in your journey, the moment where heaven confirms what your spirit has been sensing. The waiting season is ending. The preparation is complete, and the time has come. This is your divine confirmation. And as we move deeper into this word, understand this, what is being revealed to you, didn't originate from human thought, emotion, or desire. This message is not born out of coincidence or imagination. It comes from a higher place, a higher voice, a higher intention that has been watching, guiding, and shaping your journey long before you recognized what was happening. For months, maybe even years, there has been a divine hand over your path. Steady, precise, and intentional. Even when you felt lost, you were being led. Even when things seemed silent, you were being spoken to in ways your spirit understood before your mind caught up. And now, as this confirmation unfolds, it is heaven itself stepping forward to make the unseen visible. You are not listening to this by accident. You are listening because God has been preparing you for a moment of clarity. There are seasons where God whispers and seasons where God commands attention. Right now, you are standing in the second one. The air around you feels different because the message being released carries weight, carries authority, carries destiny. It carries His voice. You've sensed those nudges, the gentle but persistent pull in your heart that said, something is shifting. You may not have had the language for it, but your spirit recognized the touch of the divine. It recognized the movement, the rearranging, the quiet but powerful orchestration happening behind the veil. And whether you realized it or not, heaven has been preparing you to receive this very declaration. Because God is not merely informing you, He is confirming you. He is confirming your readiness. He is confirming your growth. He is confirming your alignment with the season that is unfolding before you. When God chooses to speak like this, it's because something significant is about to unfold. Something that requires your awareness and your agreement. You are being invited to witness what has already been written about your life, what has already been set in motion. And the one who speaks this word over you is the same one who has carried you through every valley, every storm, every struggle that shaped you for this moment. The delays you experienced were not denials. They were part of your divine formation. The things that didn't work out weren't failures. They were protective walls built by the Creator to ensure you didn't enter a place before you were ready. God's timing may have felt slow, but it was strategic. Every moment was orchestrated to prepare your spirit, your mindset, and your heart for the weight of what you are now ready to receive. So hear this clearly. The message you're receiving isn't from the world. It isn't from coincidence. It is coming from the same God who saw you when no one else did. The same God who heard you when your prayers felt like whispers lost in the wind. The same God who watched you endure battles you didn't have language for. This revelation is stamped with divine authority. This confirmation carries heaven's seal. And as we move into the next part of this message, you will begin to see exactly what God has been preparing you for, and why this moment right now is the precise moment heaven chose to say, "You're ready." And now that your heart is open and your spirit is steady, we can step into the core of what heaven has been preparing to reveal. This is the unveiling, the moment where what has been hidden begins to rise to the surface, where the spiritual aligns with the natural, where the invisible becomes tangible. Everything you've endured, everything you've questioned, everything you've sensed but could not articulate has been pointing to this one truth. A divine shift is taking place in your life. This shift is not subtle. It is not something you will have to wonder about. It carries the weight of destiny, the clarity of purpose, and the timing of God's own hand. For a long time you have stood in a transitional space, no longer who you used to be, but not yet walking fully in who you are becoming. That in-between place can feel like wandering, but heaven sees it differently. It is the cocoon, the sacred chamber of transformation, the furnace where identity is forged, strength is tested, and clarity is birthed. And now the cocoon is opening. There is something rising within you, a boldness, a clarity, a quiet authority that wasn't there before. This is the sign that your old season has expired. Heaven has released its grip on the former chapter, and the page has turned. You are stepping into the moment the preparation was designed for. What once felt distant will now begin to feel close. What once seemed impossible will begin to show signs of life. What once required constant questioning will now begin to answer itself. The prophecy unfolding over your life is this: you are entering a season of divine activation, not waiting, not observing, not holding on to hope in silence. Activation where the things God placed within you begin to align with the world around you in undeniable ways. You will notice it first in your spirit, a sense of readiness you didn't even realize was forming, a clarity of mind, a spark of direction, a shift in your inner atmosphere. That is heaven igniting what was dormant, awakening, what was buried, empowering, what was once fragile. And as this inner ignition takes place, the outer world will begin to respond. Doors that were once sealed will begin to unlock without effort. Conversations that once led nowhere will suddenly carry purpose. People who once overlooked you will begin to see what they could not perceive before. Opportunities that felt out of reach will come toward you as if pulled by divine magnetism. It won't be random, it will be orchestrated. This next season is marked by alignment. Alignment of your gifts with your purpose. Alignment of your path with God's timing. Alignment of your spirit with the destiny written over your life. And yet, even in the midst of this unfolding, there will be a sense of mystery, not because God wants to withhold clarity, but because the fullness of what He is releasing is too expansive to reveal all at once. It will come in waves, each layer unfolding in its appointed time. This mystery is not meant to confuse you, but to protect the sacredness of the journey. You will feel it, the gentle pulling, the quiet invitations, the unmistakable nudges guiding you toward the people, the places, the opportunities that carry significance. These nudges are part of the prophecy. They are heaven's way of steering you in the right direction without overwhelming your spirit. They will feel like instinct intuition, sudden knowing, but beneath it all, it is God. The blessing that is coming is not small. It is not ordinary. It is not something that will fit into the patterns of your old life. That is why the old season had to end, why certain relationships faded, why certain environments could no longer hold you. The blessing is too big to fit into what once was. God had to expand you internally so that what is being released externally would not crush you. You are stepping into a season where your spirit, your identity, and your calling begin to converge, and the result is transformation that cannot be reversed. This is the prophecy. Heaven has declared you ready. And what is coming will require the version of you that could only be formed through the journey you walked. And now that the prophecy has been unveiled, let's step into the deeper layers, the spiritual architecture behind everything that has been forming around you. Because nothing about your journey has been random. Nothing about your delays, your battles, your questions, or your breakthroughs has been accidental. Every thread of your story has been woven with deliberate divine intention. And when heaven declares that you're ready, it means the internal work has reached its fulfillment long before the external evidence shows up. To understand the weight of this moment, you have to see the journey through spiritual eyes. You've been walking through a season of hidden construction. While you felt still, God was building. While you felt quiet, God was speaking. While you felt confined, God was expanding you from the inside out. This is how divine timing works. God prepares the vessel before He pours the oil. He strengthens the foundation before He opens the floodgates. He shapes the identity before He reveals the assignment. This inner shaping was the reason for the pressure. You are being refined the way gold is refined in a furnace, not to destroy it, but to remove everything that cannot go with it into the next level. You walked through emotional storms that strengthened your resilience. You faced spiritual battles that sharpened your discernment. You experienced unexpected endings that forced you into elevation. These were not punishments. They were spiritual tools. They were necessary to build the endurance needed for the weight of the calling that now rests on your shoulders. Every season of your life has been symbolic. The storms represented cleansing, removing what was attached to you, but not aligned with you. The silence represented alignment, teaching you to recognize God, not just in signs, but in stillness. The closed doors represented protection, redirecting you toward a path your spirit was prepared for, but your mind didn't yet understand. And the waiting represented maturation, strengthening your patience, your character, and your clarity. You see, divine timing is less about the calendar and more about readiness. Heaven waits for the internal shift before releasing the external blessing. And the shift inside you, the maturity, the clarity, the resilience, the surrender, is what signaled heaven that the time is now. Think of your journey like the changing of seasons. There was a winter season, a time of stillness, pruning, and preparation. Then came the long, quiet stretch of early spring. Nothing visible yet, everything underneath was coming back to life. And now spiritually, you have stepped into late spring, where signs of growth begin to break through the surface. This is when the roots that have been forming in silence finally begin to manifest as new life. That is what you're experiencing. The spiritual meaning behind this confirmation is that the roots of your destiny have grown deep enough. Your foundation is no longer fragile. What God is releasing now will not cause you to collapse, because you have learned to anchor yourself in Him, not in circumstances. You have learned to walk by faith, not by sight. You have learned to let go, surrender trust, and wait, even when the waiting stretched longer than you imagined. And there is something else. Something many people overlook. God never releases destiny without first shaping identity. He never opens the door until you have grown into the version of yourself that can walk through it. This transformation you've gone through, the quiet battles, the emotional stretching, the inner healing, this was God forming the identity required for the next stage of your calling. You were shedding old fears, releasing old patterns, letting go of old versions of yourself that could not carry the prophecy. This wasn't just personal growth, it was spiritual positioning. Your spirit has been shifting, aligning with heaven's frequency, stepping into the vibration of purpose, rising into the awareness of who you are and who you've always been. You are not awakening into a new identity. You are awakening into your true identity, the one heaven knew before the foundations of the world. And when God says you're ready, it's not because your circumstances look perfect. It's because your spirit finally agrees with what He's been saying about you all along. That is the spiritual meaning of this moment. You are stepping into divine alignment, a place where your preparation meets your prophecy, where your obedience meets God's timing, where your inner transformation meets outer manifestation. You didn't just reach this moment, you grew into it. And heaven has been waiting for you to stand exactly where you now stand, spiritually aligned, internally, fortified, and fully awakened. And now that the deeper meaning has settled into your spirit, you may begin to realize something. The signs have already been appearing around you. They didn't show up as loud announcements or dramatic encounters. They came quietly, subtly, intentionally, the way heaven often communicates with those who are spiritually sensitive enough to notice. These signs weren't random coincidences. They were confirmations, indicators that something within you had shifted and heaven was responding to that shift. You may not have recognized them at the time, but now as clarity unfolds, you can look back and see the pattern. One of the first signs is a sudden inner calm, a peace that doesn't match your circumstances. You found yourself handling situations with a maturity you didn't have before. The things that once triggered anxiety no longer had the same power. This peace wasn't because life became easier. It was because your spirit became stronger. Heaven always releases peace before it releases promotion. That calm was confirmation. Another sign is the feeling of outgrowing certain environments. Places you once felt comfortable in began to feel limiting. Conversations that once held your interest suddenly felt empty. Relationships that used to feed your spirit began fading without conflict or reason. This wasn't you becoming distant, it was you becoming aligned. When God elevates you internally, everything around you that doesn't match that elevation naturally falls away. That disconnection was confirmation. Then there were the unexpected moments of clarity, random insights, sudden realizations, moments where your spirit felt illuminated. You started seeing patterns you couldn't see before. You began understanding people and situations with deeper discernment. It wasn't logic. It was revelation. God was sharpening your vision, giving you glimpses of the path ahead. That clarity was confirmation. You may have also felt a strange pull toward something new, even if you couldn't identify it. A sense that change was coming. An urge to prepare clean release, organized shift, even without knowing why. Heaven often whispers through instinct. That inner push, that readiness you couldn't explain, was not restlessness. It was the Holy Spirit preparing your steps. That pull was confirmation. And finally, perhaps the most unmistakable sign, the feeling that you are not the same person you were even a few months ago. Something in you has matured. Something in you has awakened. Your resilience has increased. Your faith has deepened. Your perspective has expanded. You've grown in ways that only trials and divine guidance could have shaped. That transformation was not accidental. It was God's fingerprint. And that growth was confirmation. These signs are universal, yet deeply personal. They show up differently for each person, but they carry the same message. Heaven is aligning things around you because something has aligned within you. You weren't imagining the shift. You weren't overthinking the changes. You weren't wrong for sensing the transition. Everything you felt was part of a divine conversation. God speaking through peace, through disconnection, through clarity, through instinct, through transformation. And now that these signs have aligned, heaven speaks the confirmation plainly. You're ready. But even with all these confirmations surrounding you, there's something important you need to understand as you move forward. Every divine elevation comes with hidden challenges. Not to break you, not to discourage you, but to finalize the strengthening of your spirit as you step into what God has prepared. These challenges don't appear because you are unworthy, they appear because you are ready. It may sound strange, but right before breakthrough, the path can feel the most difficult. Spiritually, it's the tightening before the release, the stretching before the expansion, the final push of resistance before the door swings open. What you've been facing recently, the fatigue, the strange opposition, the emotional heaviness, the sudden spiritual pressure, these are not signs of failure. They are indicators that you are at the threshold. One hidden challenge you might encounter is unexpected resistance from familiar places. Not enemies, not strangers, but environments and people you never expected would push against your growth. The reason is simple. Your elevation disrupts old patterns. When God widens your spiritual capacity, anything that was comfortable with the smaller version of you begins to react. This resistance isn't punishment, it's revelation. It shows you who can walk with you into the next chapter and who cannot. Another challenge is feeling temporarily overwhelmed. You may sense something big is coming, but your mind may struggle to catch up with your spirit. This tension happens because your inner world is expanding faster than your outer circumstances can reflect. Don't misinterpret this feeling. It's not weakness. It's spiritual transition. Heaven is shifting your identity, and your emotions are adjusting. That overwhelm is not a warning, it's preparation. There may also be moments of unusual silence from God, not abandonment, but activation. Sometimes God steps back not to distance himself, but to allow you to see how much you've grown. There were times in your past when silence would have broken you. Now the same silence builds you. It teaches you to trust what he already told you, not what you feel in the moment. Silence is not a void, it's a test of spiritual maturity. And perhaps the most difficult hidden challenge, the temptation to return to what is familiar. When the new season feels uncertain, the old season suddenly seems safer, even if it was limiting. This is the final test before elevation, the temptation to settle. But hear this clearly, your growth has already outpaced your old environment. Returning would not restore comfort, it would suffocate purpose. The pull to go backward is not a sign to return. It's a sign that you're close to moving forward. These challenges don't appear because something is wrong. They appear because something is right. They are spiritual indicators that heaven is finishing the last details of your preparation. And here is the truth you must hold on to. Challenges at this stage are not obstacles, they are confirmations. They confirm that your spirit has matured. They confirm that your old season is incompatible with your new one. They confirm that you are standing on the edge of what you've been praying for. You are not being tested to see if you can survive. You already survived. You are being tested to reveal that you're ready. And now, with the challenges understood for what they truly are, we can step into the part of this message that carries both weight and direction, the divine instructions for this season. Because when heaven declares that you're ready, it's not a passive announcement. It's an activation, a commissioning, a release into a new level of responsibility, awareness, and spiritual authority. And with every divine release comes divine instruction, guiding you through the doorway that has been prepared for you. These instructions are not meant to burden you. They are meant to position you. They are not commands meant to intimidate, but invitations meant to awaken what has been planted inside you. And as they unfold, you may feel your spirit responding not with fear, but with recognition. Because these instructions are not new. They are reminders of what your soul already knows. The first instruction is this: remain aligned. Not with people, not with trends, not with noise, but with God's voice. In this season, alignment is your anchor. Heaven has brought you to a place where clarity is sharper than confusion. But you must protect that clarity. Guard your spirit. Guard your time. Guard your focus. Not everyone deserves access to your inner world. Not everything deserves your attention. There is a frequency heaven speaks on, and you must stay tuned to it. Alignment is not about perfection. It's about prioritization. The second instruction: move when you are prompted. You are entering a season where hesitation can delay what God is trying to deliver. The nudges you feel, the sudden urges to take action, the inspiration that drops into your spirit. These are not random thoughts. They are directives. They are signals that heaven has already cleared the path and simply needs your agreement. When God says step, don't wait for full understanding. Understanding often comes after obedience. Your role is movement. God's role is manifestation. The third instruction: release what no longer fits. This is one of the hardest commands because the things that no longer fit are often things you once prayed for, worked for, or held close. But elevation requires space. You cannot carry old emotions, old fears, old environments, or old versions of yourself into this new chapter. If something feels heavy, forced, or draining, it is not meant for the season you're stepping into. Release is not loss. It is preparation. You're not letting go of what is good. You're making room for what is divine. The fourth instruction: speak life over your journey. Your words are spiritual tools. This season requires language that aligns with destiny, not fear. Speak boldly. Declare what God has shown you. Affirm what you know in your spirit, even when it hasn't manifested in the natural. Your words carry creative power. They draw heaven's intentions into earthly reality. Negative speech weakens momentum. Prophetic speech multiplies it. Choose your words with spiritual awareness. The fifth instruction: stay rooted in gratitude. Gratitude is a gateway. It expands your capacity to receive. It keeps your spirit open and your heart soft. It reminds you that every step of your journey, even the painful ones, were not wasted. Gratitude transforms waiting into worship and preparation into praise. And in this season, gratitude will keep you grounded when blessings begin to accelerate. It will help you carry the increase with humility and grace. And finally, the sixth instruction: protect your energy and guard your spirit. Not everyone can come with you into this next chapter. Not every voice deserves influence. Some people will misunderstand your calling. Others will try to drain the strength you've built. Discernment is your shield. Peace is your confirmation. If something disturbs your spirit, take note. If something drains your strength, step back. You don't have to fight every battle. Some things only require distance. Your energy is sacred. Guard it as if your destiny depends on it, because it does. These instructions are not heavy. They are holy. They are not rules. They are revelations. They are not demands. They are invitations to walk in the fullness of what heaven has prepared for you. This is your moment of activation. Not someday, not eventually, now. The readiness God declared over you is not based on your circumstance. It is based on your spiritual maturity. And these instructions are the blueprint that will guide you through the unfolding of your destiny. You are stepping into a divine rhythm, a place where your obedience, your awareness, and your alignment will open doors that felt impossible just a short time ago. Heaven has spoken. Your spirit is responding. And the path ahead is being illuminated with every step you take. And as you take in these instructions, there is something else. Heaven wants to settle deep into your spirit, something meant to quiet every fear, silence every doubt, and anchor you in peace as you step into this new season. Because even with readiness declared and instructions given, your human heart may still wonder, will I be protected? Will I be supported? Will I be covered as I move forward? The answer is yes. Not a hesitant yes, not a partial yes, a resounding, unshakable, heaven-backed yes. You are not stepping into this new chapter alone. You are stepping into it surrounded, wrapped in a shield of divine protection that has been covering you long before you understood what was happening. Everything you survived, everything you navigated, everything that should have broken you, but didn't. It was proof that God's hand has never left you, and that same hand is going with you into what comes next. There is a hedge around your life, a spiritual barrier that darkness cannot penetrate. You may have felt attacks, but they could never destroy you. You may have felt pressure, but it could never crush you. You may have felt fear, but it could never claim you. That is because your protection was not emotional, it was divine. And as you walk into your next season, that protection increases. Heaven wants you to understand this. Where God sends you, God shields you. There is no calling without covering. There is no assignment without angels. There is no elevation without spiritual reinforcement. In the unseen realm, there are forces moving on your behalf. Angels assigned to your path, guiding your steps, clearing obstacles, redirecting danger, whispering wisdom you don't always realize is divine. You have spiritual support surrounding you like walls of light. You are walking with a covering that darkness recognizes even when you don't. And it's not just protection from harm, it's protection from confusion. God will shield your mind from anxiety. He will guard your heart from emotional sabotage. He will protect your spirit from spiritual depletion. Every place where you once felt vulnerable will be strengthened. There will be moments ahead where you feel a sudden calm in situations that should have shaken you. That's protection. Moments where you narrowly avoid something harmful. That's protection. Moments where you feel guided, clear of the wrong people, wrong paths, wrong decisions. That's protection. Protection is not always dramatic. Sometimes it's subtle, gentle, and quiet, but it is always present. And beyond the shield, there is assurance, the assurance that nothing in your future can surprise God or overpower His plan for you. You don't have to figure out every detail. You don't have to predict every challenge. You don't have to carry the weight of what if. Your steps are ordered. Your path is watched over. Your destiny is guarded. You have been protected in seasons where you didn't even realize danger was near. You have been kept in moments where you didn't know what was happening behind the scenes. And now, as you move into fulfillment, that same divine protection becomes even more intentional. So breathe. Move forward with confidence. Walk with boldness. You are covered. You are held. You are guided every step of the way. Nothing about this next chapter is unsafe. because heaven has already gone before you. And now that you understand your protection, you are ready to glimpse what lies ahead, the transformation that is already beginning to unfold inside you, and the fulfillment that heaven has been preparing for your life. Because when God says you're ready, it is never just about readiness. It is about release. It is about stepping into a version of yourself that has been forming quietly in the background of every season you've survived. Your transformation is not coming, it has begun. You may not see all the evidence yet, but something inside you has already shifted. You feel it in your awareness, in your posture, in the way you perceive your life, your purpose, your identity. The insecurities that once held power over you no longer have the same grip. The doubts that used to silence your actions are losing their influence. The fears that used to paralyze you are being dismantled. You are stepping into a stronger, wiser, clearer version of yourself. One that your past could never have carried but your future requires. This transformation will not be subtle. It will be visible. It will be felt. It will be undeniable. You will notice it first in your mindset. Thoughts that once spiraled into fear will begin to redirect into faith. Situations that once overwhelmed you will seem manageable. Emotions that once consumed you will calm much faster. It's not that life becomes easier, it's that you become stronger. Your internal world becomes steady, grounded, rooted in a peace that circumstances cannot shake. This is the transformation. Then you'll notice it in your relationships. People who drained you will lose access. People who honor your growth will move closer. Connections that align with your destiny will begin to form naturally. Conversations will feel different, deeper, clearer, more intentional. God will bring people who speak the same spiritual language, who understand your calling, who support your elevation rather than hinder it. That alignment is part of the fulfillment. You'll also notice transformation in your opportunities. Doors that once resisted you will begin to open without force. Ideas that once seemed impossible will gain momentum. Dreams that felt too big will suddenly feel reachable. It will feel as though the atmosphere around your life is shifting, and it is. Heaven is orchestrating resources, timing, and connections in your favor. What you were once unprepared for, you are now equipped to handle with grace and authority. And then comes the fulfillment, the moment where everything begins to converge. Fulfillment is not a single event. It's a spiritual unfolding. It's when what God placed within you begins to manifest around you. It's when the promise and the person finally match. It's when your preparation meets your purpose. You will see signs of it everywhere, in the clarity of your decisions, in the boldness of your steps, in the breakthroughs that begin to compile, in the blessings that flow, not as surprises, but as confirmations. Fulfillment feels like peace settling into place. It feels like alignment finally making sense. It feels like the weight you carried for years lifting all at once. And the beauty of this, none of it is accidental. None of it is luck. None of it is coincidence. It is the natural result of divine timing meeting divine readiness. You were never behind. You were never forgotten. You were never disqualified. Every step of your journey, the storms, the silence, the struggles, the stretching, all of it shaped you into the person who is now ready to receive what heaven has been holding for you. And the fulfillment coming into your life will not only bless you, it will confirm every word spoken over you. It will confirm your identity. It will confirm your calling. It will confirm the purpose that has been written into your spirit since the beginning. This is your transformation. This is your becoming. This is your season of divine fulfillment. And as this message settles into your spirit, let these last words become the seal, the spiritual closure that locks everything into place. You've heard the confirmation, you've received the instructions, you've understood the meaning, and you've glimpsed the fulfillment. Now it is time to anchor it all with truth. You can return to repeat and declare over your life. Here are your affirmations, short, powerful, and carrying the weight of everything heaven has spoken. Affirmation 1. I am aligned, prepared, and fully ready for what God is releasing. This affirmation roots you in identity. It reminds your spirit that readiness is not a feeling, it is a divine declaration. Affirmation 2. Every step I take is guided, protected, and supported by heaven. This affirms your covering. It silences fear and awakens confidence as you walk forward. Affirmation 3. I welcome the new season, the new opportunities, and the new version of myself. This affirmation opens your spirit to receive. It shifts you into a posture of surrender and expectancy. Affirmation 4. What God has started in me, God will complete through me. This one seals the journey. It is a declaration of endurance, trust, and faith in divine timing. Let these affirmations stay close to you. Speak them when you wake. Speak them when doubt rises. Speak them whenever you feel the enemy of hesitation trying to pull you backward. These are not just positive words, they are spiritual alignments. They anchor your path in truth. And now receive this blessing. A blessing meant to wrap around you like a mantle covering your mind, your heart, your journey, and every step ahead. May the peace of God settle over your life like a gentle, unwavering light. May clarity fill your mind, courage fill your spirit, and strength fill your steps. May every door meant for you open without resistance, and every door not meant for you close without confusion. May your path be illuminated, your purpose be activated, and your identity be affirmed. May protection surround you, favor follow you, and wisdom guide you. May the transformation that has begun continue to unfold with grace, power, and divine timing. And may the blessing assigned to your name reach you swiftly, fully, and unmistakably. You are ready not because life has become perfect, but because your spirit has aligned with heaven. You are stepping into the season you were prepared for long before you understood why things happened the way they did. You are walking into fulfillment, into activation, into purpose. This is your confirmation. This is your moment. This is your divine release. Go forward in peace, expectation, and unwavering faith, for heaven has already gone before you.